Good morning, all of you. I am Shraddha Sheke from KK Wagh Institute of Engineering. I welcome you all in our lecture series on the course Digital Circuits. In this lecture, we will discuss about programmable logic devices. Objectives of this lecture are to discuss about what is the programmable logic devices, PROM, PAL, PLA, general architecture of FPGA and CPLD, semiconductor memory, memory organization, then classification of memories, RAM, ROM, EPROM, E square PROM, NVROM, SRAM and DRAM. Fixed function ICs. Fixed function digital ICs are classified according to their complexity. They are listed here from the least complex IC to the most complex IC. In fixed function devices, a specific logic function is contained in the IC package when it is purchased and it can never be changed. So whatever ICs we have used in performing the basic practicals are the fixed function ICs. For example, IC 7404 is a IC used for inverter. So the function of that IC is fixed. So or you can have a multiplexer IC, demultiplexer IC. That ICs are fixed function ICs because their function is fixed. Examples are SSI, MSI, LSI or ULSI and VLSI. These ICs are called as fixed function ICs. Advantage of these ICs are that they can be used for specific function, but disadvantage is that if you want to, they cannot be used for any other application. For example, let us consider the circuit. If you want to build a circuit of half adder by using the logic gates, so expression for the sum in case of half adder is A XOR B and expression of the carry is A and B. So if we have to use the logic gates, fixed function ICs, then we will use one logic gate, one IC for the XOR gate. But in IC of the XOR gate there are 4 ICs out of 4 XOR gates. So out of that we are going to use only one XOR gate and remaining 3 XOR gates will be unused for that application. Same thing is there for the AND gate IC also. So in that case we will use only one AND gate instead of 4 AND gates. So remaining 3 AND gates will be as it is. So the circuit will become bulky, we can say, and the large space will be required. So that is the disadvantage of the fixed function ICs if you want to build a complex circuit. This diagram is showing the IC which is having a chip and the plastic case and the pins are there, and this is the cutaway view of one type of the fixed function IC package showing the chip mounted inside the connection to the input and the output pins. So as shown in this diagram, we are having the fixed function ICs. Next is ASICs, that is application specific integrated circuits. So these circuits are application specific, that is tailor-made ICs for the particular applications. Examples are chips used in toys, the chips used for interfacing memory and the microprocessor, etc. These chips can be used only for that applications for which these are designed. But coming to the ASICs, what are the problems with ASICs? The initial development cost of the ASICs is high, and if, for example, consider the case in which your requirement is that you want to use the ASICs or the application specific integrated circuit for, let us consider the full adder. So just take an example that you are having your own company and you require 1000 pieces of full adder ICs. So you will go to some IC manufacturer and they will specifically manufacture the ASICs for your application, like a full adder. So they will design IC for your requirement and which will be performing a full adder in our example. But what you will do, you will take those ICs and you will use that. If there is any problem in that, you have to again go to that manufacturer and he will solve that problem. But if your requirement changes, after few years your requirement changes, you want to use some other ICs, for example you want to use counters, then you have to discard that previous components or previous ICs and you have to again purchase new ICs for your application. So that is the one problem with respect to ASICs. Then we will go for PLDs. Basically PLDs are the programmable logic devices. As the name indicates, these devices are programmable. Problems by using the basic gates, as we know, there are many components on the PCB. As the number of the components increases, node interconnection complexity grows exponentially. Growth in the interconnection will cause increase in interface, PCB size, PCB design, cost and manufacturing time. Then the purpose of the PLD devices is to permit or elaborate digital logic designs to be implemented by the user on a single device. So as the name indicates, it is a programmable. So coming to our previous example that we were considering, see in that example, if your requirement changes, you need to go towards the manufacturer and manufacturer was again manufacturing that devices and was giving to you. Instead of that, if he give you one box, let us consider one box, and there are lots of logic gates present in that. So if the box can be reprogrammed by your as per your requirement, suppose you want to use that box as a adder, then you simply type a program and download in that kit and that kit will work as adder. If your requirement changes, you can type the other program. For example, your requirement is subtractor, then you will type the program of a subtractor, erase the previous program, download that in the kit and the kit will work as a subtractor. So these devices are programmable by the user. They are user programmable devices. That's why programmable logic devices. So the advantage is that these are the user programmable, so no need to go towards the manufacturer again and again. Yes, here also initial development cost is high, but even if your requirement changes, you can reuse that device as per your requirement. So that is the programmable logic devices. It can be erased electrically and reprogrammed with the new design, making them very well suitable for the academic and the prototyping. Now, what are the types of the programmable logic devices, that is PLDs? SPLD, that is simple programmable logic devices. ROM, read only memory, is one type of the programmable logic devices. Then PLA, that is a programmable logic array. PAL, programmable array logic. GAL, that is generic array logic. CPLD, complex programmable logic devices. And FPGA, that is a filled programmable gate array. So all these are the examples of the programmable logic devices. Observe here, this is the diagram, shows the gate symbols. So conventional AND gate symbol is shown in the first diagram. So you can draw this AND gate with the multiple number of inputs. Then array logic AND gate symbol. So if you are using some array logic, the same AND gate symbol can be drawn like this. So one horizontal line and various vertical lines. It means that these are the various inputs are present. Now one major difference over here is that if we observe the first diagram, 3 inputs A, B, C and the output is F. So F is A dot B dot C. And in the second diagram you will observe the vertical lines A, B, C. Even though lines are there, output function is F is 0 because lines are not connected. Now if you observe the second diagram in which there is a cross mark. Cross means connection. Connection is put only for the inputs A and C. That means these two inputs are connected to the outputs. So your output is A dot C. Read only memory. As you know, it stores the binary information permanently. Read only. So only reading is allowed. Once the information is stored, it will be stored permanently. You cannot erase the information. It is a non-volatile. Information is kept even when the power is turned off. So you even though the power loss is there, the information will not be erased. Observe the diagram of the ROM 2 raised to k by n, where k is the number of, you can observe k is nothing but number of address lines. So as shown over here, and n is number of data lines. So we will coming towards this in the next few slides. So basically 2 raised to k are the memory locations available. So these are the options, or these are the locations available where you can store the data. That means if k is equals to 3, that means number of locations are 2 raised to 3, that is 8 locations are available, and address lines are 3. So by using that 3 address lines and 3s to 8 decoder we will use, and we will decode those 3 bits and we will map that 8 locations. N, small n over here indicates the data bits and the data lines. So at every location we can store the n bit data. That means if address lines are 3 and that means k is equals to 3 and small n is equals to 8, or small n is equals to, let us take example 16. So 2 raised to 3, that means 8 locations, and everywhere we can store 16 bit data. That means address lines are 3 and data lines are 16. Observe here, k input specify 2 raised to k address locations available, and n output specify the size of the data. Read only memory. Observe the example, k is equals to 3 and n is equals to 4. As shown in this diagram, there are 2 raised to 3, 8 available addresses, as I told you. Now how these 3 address lines will map to these 8 address locations? By using a decoder, and we will use 3s to 8 decoder at the input side. So 3 address lines will be the input of that 3s to 8 decoder, and the 8 output lines are given to these 8 locations. 4 bits are stored in each address, as shown in this diagram. ROM construction. Observe the example of and 2 raised to 5 by 8 ROM. What is the meaning of 2 raised to 5 by 8? Here small k is equals to 5 and n is equals to 8. That means 5 address lines and 8 data lines, as shown over here. Use a 5 to 32 bit decoder to generate the 32 address. Use an 8 OR gates. Here I have you will observe the 8 OR gates. It can be programmed to be driven by an decoder outputs. As shown in this diagram, we used a 5 to 32 decoder. So 5 input lines, we can call that as address lines, are used to map 32 memory locations. So here at the input you will observe I0 to I4 are the address lines, and output of 32-bit decoder can be used to, which can be used as a locations. So at the output there are 8 bits, because everywhere we can store the 8-bit data, we can read the data as shown. A0 to A7 are AND gates used. Now in this diagram AND gates are not connected, so every AND gate is having 32 input lines, but the connections are made as per the data which you want to store or which you want to read or write. So number of interconnections are 2 raised to 5 by 8. Now observe this. This is the table, we can say, programming the ROM, that is load desired data at the specific addresses. So as I told you, ROM is a read only memory, so initially it should be programmed. So initially some data is to be stored in that ROM. So the first is the input lines, that is the address. So you will observe I0 to I4 are the 5 address lines, and the addresses in decimal are starting from 0 to 31. So at every address line some information is to be stored, as shown in this diagram, that is from A0 to A7 as shown over here. So data will be stored over there. Based on the data, if there is 1 should be stored, if you want to store the 1, there should be the connection. Observe here. So cross marks means fuse intact, right, and plus over here is shown that fuse blown. So these, whenever if you want to store the 1, there should be the fusible link, or maybe actually that cross marks is nothing but some device, like there can be a diode, then can be a transistor, or there can be a FET, field effect transistor, or fusible links. So if you want to store 1, as I showed you, observe the location I0, where we have to store 1 0 1 1 0 1 1 0. So we will put the cross mark over there as shown in this diagram. So observe this diagram. In this diagram, if we want to store some information at address location 2, so address location 2 is select by address lines value as 0 0 0 1 0 as shown over here. So okay, so actually the address line shown in the red colors, address bit should be 0, the least significant bit should be 0, and I1 should be 1. So by mistake I have written as I2 as 1, so it should be 0 1 0 0 0 in this diagram. Then the output, so output of the 5 to 32 bit decoder should be 0 0 1 0 and all the zeros. That means the address location 2 is activated. So the ROM output at that location will be passed to the AND gate, and the outputs will be selected. So you will observe the cross marks means fusible links. So the links are present at AND gate A7, A6, then you can observe A2 and A0. So those bits will be 1 and the other bits will be 0. So the output data will be 1 1 0 0 0 1 0 1. This is how the data is to be read from the ROM. So this is how the output data is taken. So ROM output is this. So the ROM based circuit implementation we require, given a 2 raised to k by n ROM, we can implement any combinational circuit with at most k inputs and at most n number of the outputs. Why? K to 2 raised to k decoder will generate all the 2 raised to k possible min terms. each of the OR gate must be implemented a summation small m, and each summation small m can be programmed. So this is what we have discussed about the ROM. So in this lecture we have discussed about the different types of the PLDs, and then their basic ROM structure and how to find out the address lines as well as the data lines, and how the data is to be taken out from the ROM. So in next lecture we will talk about the PLDs and one example of the ROM. So thank you.